Hey everybody, I'm Eric Street back, and I know I've had a little bit of hiatus from the channel, but I'm coming back in to do a new series on the channel starting this month called Viewer's Choice. And you kind of see that through the title and the description of this video, but generally what I'm going to start doing is if I get enough requests to do videos like this, which I recently have been, I'll be scrubbing through the comments and covering albums suggested by fans and just include it all in series videos like this where I just cover the viewer's choice, whatever the viewers are requesting a lot recently. I have 3 new projects here that I listened to because of viewers' recommendation. Thank you very much. But I'll kind of cover the upkeeping here. If you don't know who I am and you stumble across this video and you're not subscribed, my name is Nightmare on Kelp Street. I cover newer music on this channel. I'm eventually going to get to more like older music, like I say old, like about a year or 2 old, but sometimes I'll cover older stuff like In Living Color. I did a review on this channel. I sometimes cover movies. Eventually when I get to like TV and video games, those things I really love and passionate about, but I'm still kind of parsing up on whether I can cover that in this channel or a separate channel, but we'll figure that out as we go. But in general, I cover newer music on this channel, so I highly recommend if you're into that and you like getting recommendations or you want to compare things I usually cover like big projects come out in the year, so if you like following newer music or you just want suggestions in general, I highly suggest you like, comment, subscribe, so you can stay up to date on everything that's been coming out and hear things through this channel that possibly that you would like. I include the genre of every project I talk about and every artist I talk about in these videos, so if something stands out to you and you feel like that's something that speaks to you, I highly suggest go listen to it, even if I don't like it. So here, we're going to start Viewer's Choice with, this episode is going to be all over newer albums, and the next Viewer's Choice I do are going to be only over older albums, so albums that did not come out in the current year. Because I'm getting a good collection of both albums that people are like, if you like Father John Misty, I suggest you going back and listening to this older album, this album. So I'm gonna be kind of parsing through some viewer suggested albums that haven't come out this year, but sounded interesting enough for me to still cover. But for now, because I follow a lot of newer music, we're gonna be covering newer music. And the first suggestion here is gonna be from Happy Frog RB3JG. Thank you so much for watching the channel and leaving a comment to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching the channel and leaving a comment for me to cover this album by Tomorrow by Together, the South Korean boy band. Spelled out Tomorrow X Together, all the letters are caps, it's outside of X. And I didn't know which album you wanted me to cover because I know I had 2 albums that came out this year, kind of mini album projects. I listened to the Star Chapter Sanctuary, and generally this is a pretty good album. I usually get a little big into like Korean boy bands or K-pop or J-pop early in the year between like January and March because not a lot else is coming out, and I still follow K-pop and J-pop generally off and on. It really just depends, like, BTS has kind of been on hiatus. Jungkook has stepped away and kind of making his solo album, which I heard last year and it was pretty good. But this album here that we're talking about, Sanctuary, generally was good. I liked it. The first 3 or 4 tracks, I'll be honest, I can't remember a lot of the details in them, but I remember that it wrote out really well and I liked it. I listened to this album in 2 sittings. So I finished the first 4 tracks, Heaven, Over the Moon, Danger, and Resist. I remember just kind of driving around, let it ride out, and I enjoyed it for the most part. But then I started taking some more in-depth notes in the second part of this little project because I really wanted to get some more in-detail moments on here. And 41 Winks is what I jumped back in on. I made comment that I generally agree with the other songs, that I guess smooth, buttery vocals and the beats really ride through the entire project as a very smooth production quality, and I really like that about it. It makes me want to revisit it sometime within the next month or 2. And then Higher Than Heaven was a really good outro, but this is the one that kind of sparked me on thinking about how if you're into bands like this and artists like this, I highly suggest going to listen to New Jeans. If I had to point to anyone that does this type of style and does it really well, New Jeans is probably my biggest point to of people I'm following and loving. New Jeans is a all-female women group band, and like a pop group, and they're incredible. They're beautiful voices. The cover art of their newest project, Get Up, is made by the people who animated Powerpuff Girls. So I really think it was cute that they kind of they dug in the bag of like the cutesy aesthetic and really got the original artists and original people that worked on Powerpuff Girls to do this art and this collab and these visualizers for Spotify and stuff like that. That was really cool to me. But yeah, albums like this and projects like this, I tend to really like it on first listen, and then for some reason they just never draw me in on multiple listens. New Jeans is kind of the standout for me in the past year or 2, where I really find myself drifting back to them either through shuffle or like just thinking about them to talking with friends. So yeah, but this is one of the first ones in a while where I was like, damn, this is smooth and buttery enough where I want to revisit it sometime in the next few months and give it another shot. Just a straight ride through, whether I'm riding around town or doing something, I want to give it another shot. I don't know what about this first time through didn't really hit me, but if I had to give a genre breakdown for this album, I would just say it's like it's closer to K-pop and how you would get, but just in its structure, it's more just like a pop type of R&B, maybe a little rappy, you could say in moments, but mainly pop R&B type album. Short project, about 6 songs, so it's a pretty easy listen once you do get into it. Just for whatever reason, in the past few years, I haven't really like delved, even in bands I like New Jeans, I haven't really delved deep into my bag of like listening to them. Like even when I listen to New Jeans, sometimes I do it in multiple sittings because I'll get through a song or two, and it's just like either because I'm shuffling and busy with work or busy with things in my life, it just doesn't hit me as hard. And I won't also divorce myself from saying that sometimes the language barrier also makes a gap where I can't understand or gather as much meaning out of a song as I normally would through an artist that primarily speaks English throughout the whole song. There are artists like Kiro Benito that I love that are multilingual, but primarily speaks English in almost every song they do, at least since like 2011, 2012. So when she does bring up her native language in her songs, it's in small pockets, like in a sentence or two. So that's kind of the divorcing line. It's like if the song is a majority English, some days I find to have, I'm delving deeper and giving it more patience than I normally would. But I'm kind of, throughout the last few years, I'm kind of breaking that cycle of like, the front wall of myself and my brain being like, if I can't understand it, it doesn't lose its meaning, I could always just bring up Genius at some point, and that's what I might do in my second listen to this, is bring up Genius and just read along to the album so I can kind of fully delve in and understand. It's just that sometimes that's not always the mood to like just be combing like that. So that's kind of where I was in the first listen. I was going to let it ride out and then do my deep examines on future listens. But just off of initial reaction here, I liked it. It was smooth, it was buttery, it was cute, it was nice. I liked it. My next suggestions, I say suggestions because 2 from the same person, and this will kind of ride out the rest of our video, was from Philly the Best 1212, which if you've watched the channel recently, he's been a mainstay for these album suggestions and project suggestions, so thank you, Philly, again. One of these 2 I really, really enjoyed. I'm going to start with the one I didn't, so we'll end on a really high note. So the first of the 2 I didn't really enjoy as much was From Zero, Linkin Park, the newest Linkin Park album. And I kind of knew this going into it because I've heard their past album or 2. I'm not going to act like all of it is because of the secondary. So we had Chester and Mike Shinoda was the original screamer singer combo on here. I say singer, but Mike Shinoda leans more into like singing rap in some moments. Like he had the white boy rap band Fort Minor in the 2000s, and so he's kind of transitioned that over here into Linkin Park. But when Chester died, there was a lot of online mourning and people talking about how they, very much focusing around the suicide awareness of Chester Bennington, if you don't know, was one of the 2 main singers of Linkin Park who took his own life years ago. And it was something that people weren't exactly surprised by at the time, because if you follow his music at all, he talks a lot about his mental health and how he struggles with how he thinks about himself and the world and his image, and positive self-talk and things like that in his life. So it was really sad. Not something I'm going to hark on too much in this video, but something that I do acknowledge as somebody who's talked about mental health in this channel already in music, and how it's impacted me over the years, and really made an impact on me and made me as a better I've luckily taken the better side out of this, and like over the years found my coping mechanisms and things that help me to counteract any negative thoughts I have about myself or things like that. But unfortunately, we lost Chester to that mental health battle, and we've over the years filled in now with his co-lead vocalist Emily Armstrong, who I did not know going this album was going to be one of the lead singers of the band now, but any song she showed up on I generally liked. She was a really good strong singer and screamer, so I don't see a lot of female screamers in like the rock metal screamo community, so I really, really love when they do show up. Unfortunately, this one was only scattered because I just felt like I got good pockets, and then it would wind back down. So let's say From the intro, I didn't really like the intro. Every time I listen to it now, I skip it. The Emptiness Machine, good starter song. Cut Down the Bridge, good secondary song. Heavy as the Crown, that was the better out of these three. Definitely picked up the energy more than what I wanted. And then we get to Over Each Other, which hits the first of many songs where I think about how this album in whole really presents me songs in the rock, metal, and screamo community that I feel like I've heard a bajillion times over at this point. Because if you listen to enough newer music, you start to hear the formula of certain genres. And rock, and especially screamo rock, has a formula down to a T that, like, I know, I hear, and then sometimes when I hear in certain songs like this, like, just as like a Over Each Other isn't even that heavy. It's just like a regular standard milquetoast rock song, where when I hit this one, I was like, oh, this is gonna be the whole song. That's a little boring. And then I went on to Casualty, Overflow, Two-Faced, all ones I like. Two-Faced probably the best out of these three as well. And then we get back into Stained, another song where I straight up did not like. This song really grated me. By the time I got to finishing it, I was like, God, I cannot wait for it to be over by the time I finished it. IGYEIH. This song also, it brought it back up to me, but like from such a big bottom, it was like we were looping. We kind of just stayed in the medium, looped down really harsh, and then brought it back up like a little bit, just to bring it right back down with Good Things, which was the outro, and probably one of the most underwhelming outros I've heard this year. It didn't really make an impact on me. The lyrics I enjoy. The beat and the guitars and the drums for this one were so underwhelming for a song and an album that had so many other really big highs that I was kind of expecting them to lead me on more than what they gave me. So I think that's kind of what I came out of this album with, was I wished I would have got a little bit more, but I didn't really expect more because I know the past few albums I haven't liked anyways. If I was going to suggest something off of here, first of all, before going to suggestions for like what this album reminded me of, From Zero by Linkin Park, the genre I would consider to be rock, screamo in some moments, and specifically only like 2 or 3 songs. Metal, we still, like, just like early Linkin Park, we still have that kind of like rap rock fusion going on, especially with Mike Shinoda's rapping on multiple different songs. So, we kind of still got that hybrid of sounds, which brings me over to my suggestion. If you like this album, I'm sorry for the kind of the review I ended up giving it here, but I would guess that if you like Linkin Park, you probably heard it at this point, but if you haven't, I highly suggest going back, and maybe it makes me a little bit of a traditionalist, but listening to Hybrid Theory, the 2000 album, their debut album, still to this day stands as a hallmark of rock and screamo, and just a blend of genres of the early 2000s, and one of my childhood albums that I really grew up off of when I was a young kid, and I've loved to this day. I have an LP copy of it in my home. So if you haven't heard Hybrid Theory yet, I highly suggest going back and watching it, going back and listening to it, because it's one of my favorite albums of all time. I'll say that right now. Hybrid Theory by Linkin Park is one of my favorite albums of all time. So when I heard the suggestion, I was like, well, of course I'm going to listen to it, because anything Linkin Park does, I'm going to listen to it, regardless of if I really love it, if I feel mixed on it like now, if I don't like it, like their album with all the kids on the cover. One More Light was the one I really, really didn't like. The few albums they had before that, like The Hunting Party, Living Things, Thousand Suns, I really like those, especially Thousand Suns. But One More Light was the one where it really started breaking off, and I was like, I feel like we've definitely passed their peak, unfortunately. But yeah, that's kind of just how I came away with this one, and now I want to end it on the goods, the really, really goods. Thank you, Philly the Best, for recommending Why Suffer For Us by ericdoa. Ericdoa is how I'm going to phrase it. I've talked about on the channel before about how I love hyperpop, I love electropop, I love really noisy music, I love weird shit. And this album definitely kind of threw me a loop for that, where like I expected it to be one thing and kind of gave me a few different things on the way. So, Song for When the Bar Closes, I noted that it has like a club rap electro vibe, like it's a really good smooth intro. His voice reminds me of Brakence. If you haven't heard of him, I highly suggest listening to the most recent Brakence album, Hypochondriac. At some point I would like to learn how to play the title track Hypochondriac on the piano, because it's a piano-based song on a hyperpop album. That really stood out to me. But then transitioned into Do Ya, the second song, which is a very funky club vibe. So they have like 2 different songs that have really kind of melded to two different genres already, which is very interesting. It's a very funky like beat to it in its background. And then we get to Search and Destroy, which is my favorite song on this little project. Glitchy, weird intro and outro. Definitely my fave, as far as I can say. After the first 20, 30 seconds or so, the weird noises doing at the beginning kind of melds back out. But I loved it, just like a JPEG Mafia song. Up until the very last second, it keeps your attention by like still editing back in that weird noise in the last 20, 30 seconds to like kind of make a sandwiching of this otherwise really good like pop kind of club song, like Ride Out in My Car with Billy Big Bass. But the front and back halves are just like sandwiched together with just really noisy editing and really crisp production of something that's so weird. And I love stuff like that. So this was one of my favorite songs of any album, any suggestions from fans recently. So thank you so much. This song was incredible. Throw It Up, One for the Troops, and Point Blank all kind of just rode out for me after that because I hit such a good high that I really couldn't think of, like, I was like, damn, I just wish something else on this album was that good. But they were still really good, especially One for the Troops. I've been listening to that one a few times. I've already heard this project over about 2 or 3 times. It's just really what latched on to me the most out of these recent listens. If you like this album, my 2 suggestions would be to listen to that Brakence album I suggested earlier, or Hi, This is Flume, the mixtape, came out in 2019 by the artist Flume. One of my favorite producers in the past 5-7 years. He's been going at it for longer than that, but just how long I've been onto him. And Flume very much does like digital like editing like this, where especially on a song like Search and Destroy and Song When a Bar Closes, where he blends in glitchy, weird production editing and like kind of dancey, I'm at a brave and I'm at a party type editing on a beat with rap verses, with Slow Tie, with JPEG Mafia, with an old remix of a Sophie song on this project, on this Hi, This is Flume mixtape, the mixtape I mentioned. But yeah, he generally just does this really good kind of blend with a deep, when he does speak with a deeper voice. Kind of reminded me of this project. But out of the closest out of the 2, I'd probably say the Brakence is the closest in voice. So if you really like this guy's voice, I recommend Hypochondriac more. But that's all I have for this week right now. I might do a Friday wrap-up this weekend for this Friday and this past Friday, and the past 2 or 3 Fridays, depending on how many I missed this past few weeks. But generally, nobody's really been complaining about it, so I'll catch up on the Friday wrap-ups when I can. I still have work full-time outside of these videos. I have multiple chores I have to do around town. I'm the only driver in my household, so I really take care of a few things around town all the time. So generally I stay busy, but I get to these videos when I can because I love music. People in my life know I love talking about music, and I've been really happy to see, even through my hiatus of posting videos and shorts, the channel's still steadily growing in subscribers. So I really appreciate people watching and commenting, subscribing, enjoying these videos. Hey, even if they're videos about shit I don't like the Slim Shady video, or like, the Kanye video or things like that. Like, I'm gonna have a few more videos before the end of the year, if not the beginning of next year, of the peak of what I want to get done for this channel before the end of the year is I want to make my top 10 best albums of the year and top 10 worst albums of the year. And I can't decide if I want to do those in separate videos or if I want to do them in the same video, just 20 albums up in one video. So it might be one of the longer videos on the channel, but I'll just cover 20 albums of one of my, start number 10, 10 least favorite, 10 favorite, 10 least favorite, 9th least favorite, 9th best favorite, and then just stagger back and forth so I end on a high note at the end of the year, end on my favorite album of the year. So that's my idea for right now. Let me know what you think about that. Let me know in the comments what you thought about, if you're one of those viewers who suggest these albums, what you want to suggest for next time I do a viewer's choice, whether new or old. I'll get to it at some point, I promise. And if you're none of those and you're somebody who stumbled across this video and you made it all the way to the end, thank you so much. Just a reminder that I cover newer music on this channel. Like, comment, subscribe, share with one friend if you have been subscribed. If there's somebody you think would be into following projects and newer music and things like that, and just newer music news, because sometimes I'll cover news related things in this channel. I've been debating starting a kind of music news segment on here, like about the P. Diddy trial going on this year, about how Jay-Z and Beyonce have recently been involved in allegations in it, which is huge news to me. That literally just came out in the past day or two. Not something I didn't suspect, but something that really just still threw me for a loop. So yeah, I highly suggest let me know what you think about that too, because I've been debating starting music news on this channel, but I don't really know how that would be received, you know. So just let me know what you think. Just a reminder, and before I head off, my name is Nightmare on Kelp Street, and I love you, Kelpies. Bye.